Greetings, everybody. This is your favorite host, Ilona from Ilona TV, where stories change lives. And I just wanted to let you know there's unity in the word community. And you know what? I figured out that you cannot become great alone. That's why we need one another. And today is a perfect example. We have our guests that you cannot become great alone. And I would be honored for them to introduce themselves on Ilona TV. So welcome to all of you gentlemen here.
Thank you.
So why don't we start with introducing yourselves?
Mark Lind. I'm a retired firefighter, fire chief of the metro area here. After 35 years, I decided to retire and get into fun things like going to Ukraine and helping out people on the other side of the world.
Excellent. Sean?
I'm Sean Conway. I'm the fire chief here in Brooklyn Park. I've been in the fire service for 33 years. I've served as a paramedic, a firefighter, both in civilian and in the military as well. And it's just an honor to be here and to be able to share some of the things that we hold true and value to serving other people.
Absolutely.
I'm Lee Schumann. I am the founder and president of Hand in Hand Logistics, which is kind of an outgrowth of about 28 years of work in Ukraine.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. And that's what I mean. It takes one person to connect and make a difference in the world. That's why networking is important. Connection is important. One person can trigger and become, just a ripple effect to shake the ground. And that's where I met Sean. We met at the meeting with the mayor of the city of the Brooklyn Park. And we started to talk. And you shared with us that you made actually the trip to Ukraine. One thing that I want our viewers to know, that we don't know and never known until now, what do you do behind the scene? Because all we know about firefighters, they eat pizzas, they play dominoes, and they answer the phones and they run to help us. But you do so much behind the scene. Can you please take a moment, Sean, and just tell us what do you do as a chief of department here beyond the scene, and maybe a little bit of your trip to Ukraine, and then I'm going to go to Mark and Lee.
Sure. Probably the best way I can sum it up is service. I don't think you could be in emergency services, whether you're police, a firefighter, a paramedic, if you didn't value other people. Mm-hmm. And because of that, even from our conversation that night, we were there for the state of the city, and the mayor was sharing really the direction that the city was going, and the elected officials who are ultimately responsible to serve the community, we are part of that team. So from the fire department standpoint, that has been my life for the last 33 years. Mm. And how we got to Ukraine is Lee and I had this conversation right before COVID in 2001. And he had reached out to me to see if I was willing from a firefighter position to support him in his logistics company, because he'd been collecting what we call personal protective equipment to ship to Ukraine for a number of years. And so I was honored to be part of that conversation, and consider, at the time we were looking to go to Melitopol, mm-hmm. and then COVID happened, and then we were not able to travel. So real briefly, how do we go to Ukraine here this past June? Right around February was just kind of on my heart to reach back out to Lee and say, hey, I understand the war's happening. How do you think this should go? Is it on your mind to go to Ukraine? And he says, it's funny you call, because it is. And I think it's fair for Lee to share kind of the specifics, because how we got to that journey and going to a different part, the Cherkasy region of Ukraine, was really quite amazing in and of itself.
Okay, Lee, that leads to you, right?
Okay.
Besides your beautiful smile, we want to see the spark in your eyes, and also passion what you bring to the community. And it takes a special person to start something. So what is your why?
My why is because, having initially gone to Ukraine in 1997, through Zaporozhia, and then
Zaporozhia.
getting involved in Melitopol, being involved in Melitopol, and then it started to expand to other parts of the country. I had gotten involved doing humanitarian aid in 2009, in which there was a friend of mine who was sending fire protection equipment, collecting it, sending it. I went, we delivered the first container which was there. They were very excited about it, very appreciative of it. And then it became something that I did, in a sense, kind of on the side, because the main focus was clothing and food, and then started moving into medical supply.
Why Ukraine? Why not another country?
Well, I'd say in one sense, back at the fall of the Soviet Union, I was a pastor of a church at the time, and there were other Baptist churches that had this relationship. And I was really kind of envious of it, actually, thinking I would really like to do that. But I had no connections, which were there. And then very spontaneously, I received an invitation from an organization in the Chicago area called Greater Europe Mission. They were looking for teachers to go to a newly formed college, which was the Zaporozhia Bible College, looking for individuals to teach modular classes. And I just felt that's something I needed to do, which then I did. I did modular classes in 97, 98, 99. Then that moved into two of my students saying, we really want your help starting a church in our community. And so I moved into doing the church planting. And then in 2007 or 2008, I was approached by some friends of mine who were sending the fire protection equipment. They said, we needed a connection, can you help us? I said, sure, this would be interesting, love to do it. We were starting chaplaincy programs. Then shortly after that, I was approached by another organization saying, we're sending clothing, will you help us with that? We'll do that. Then I expanded my role in doing those kinds of things. And then it kind of hit a crescendo. In 2021, I was in Melitopol, had a chance to meet Ivan Fedorov, the mayor of the city, and visit a number of hospitals which were there. And I recalled a connection I had made 5 years prior to that with an organization in St. Louis Park called Matter 360. This is a nonprofit that sends medical supply, medical equipment to Ukraine. I was visiting several hospitals, and I proposed to him a joint venture of sending one container of medical supply to the city, and he was very interested in that. I came back, made the connections, making the plan. The war happened in February of 22. Everything became highly disruptive at that particular point. Then I felt, here I am, I'm 25 years into this. I have connections now really from as far south as the Black Sea and Melitopol, and as far north is in Chernihiv and in Snufsk in the Chernihiv Oblast, thinking, what is it that God would have me to do? And then a proposal was made to me about sending medical supply at cost or no cost to me. I did that. Then we started hand in hand 2 years ago in May of 22. And we've sent, since that time, 25 containers of a lot of fire protection equipment, a lot of medical supply, food, and clothing. And then along the way, I meet some good friends. And realizing that the fire departments in Ukraine weren't familiar with what I was sending to them. I wasn't too sure how it was used. And then I approached Dawn and said, hey, are you willing to go with me? And at that time, I had no idea where there might be, because Cherkasy wasn't on my screen. I was thinking of Melitopol.
Yeah. So I'm a live witness of the fall of the Soviet Union. I went through this, and we have experienced the big merge of the Western pastors and missionaries that coming into our countries to honestly save us and rescue us. The president of my country was killed. The country was in a chaos at the time. So I just wanted to thank you on behalf of my nation, my people, for what you do, that you leave behind your own families, your own passion, ambitions, and you're going to really help others. And please know that you may not know the names of many people, but you have affected lives of many, that trickle effect. And look at me, because of that, because of the missionary who came to my place, I vowed and I said, one day I will come to your land and will help your people. Yet I knew how God would turn this around, and I'm here helping their people.
It works.
Even though people were laughing at me, they're like, America doesn't need help, they have everything they need. And when I got here, I'm like, they need God.
Yeah.
They need God.
Nice.
So, Mark, let me ask you this. You're wearing the, cap. It says Ukraine. Do you know anything about Ukrainian? Like any few words in Ukrainian?
I do now. I got involved through Sean. Sean is my friend. He was a colleague on Brooklyn Park Fire when I retired. And he said, hey, a friend of mine wants to go to Ukraine, and I think you could be of some assistance. I, in the past, have went to Liberia and Kenya and brought fire protective gear and fire training to those two countries. We've made several deployments. We've taught them how to do stuff. They're 50 years behind us maybe in the US. So things that we take for granted every day can really make a big difference over there. So we were very successful in Liberia and Kenya. And when Sean said, hey, are you interested in going to Ukraine? First thing I asked was, check with the wife. The wife said, they're in war. And we worked around that. God laid the path, we walked on it, and it worked out really well. So that wasn't a deterrent. The fun part of 14 or 16 hours on a plane, 19 hours on a train, 6 hours on a driving to get where you're going, that was a little different than we're maybe used to, but it was fun. That made the adventure. And then getting to the people in Ukraine, it was just, the people in Ukraine are, one, so nice. They always got food. I think, what did we buy?
Yes.
One burger a piece, and that was about it.
Yeah.
They had food every time we stopped. When I went to Liberia, with all respect, I lost weight. When I went to Ukraine, I gained weight. And I didn't even buy anything to eat. Everybody's just, food is a good gift that they like.
Exactly, yeah.
And they opened their arms up to us, and we were really respected there. It gave us the chance to say, hey, we need to help. We gave a little demonstration of what we can give and what we can provide and what we can give in knowledge. But by them opening up their arms, they made a door open for us to have a good path back and forth. We've already got back. We got a fire truck that we gathered that we can deliver. We're talking about it now. How can we fill it, make it turnkey, and make it easy? We're going to take little towns in Ukraine and have public safety moved way up the list. And with our knowledge and Pastor Lee asking us to do the fire protection division, we can give great value to Ukraine by just those little things. So,
again, what you guys do is admirable and very noble. So I cannot thank you enough. And I know that kindness is free, and we need to spread it everywhere. And a smile is a universal language, that if we only smile at people, that's all we need to do. That will be amazing. We can transform this world. And I just wanted to also let you know that in Ukrainian flag, there's two colors, yellow on the bottom and a blue on the top. Yellow represents wheat that produces the bread, and the blue is the sky that gives life to the wheat. So, and one cannot exist without another. And that's why we know humanity cannot exist without kindness. And we cannot survive without God. One cannot exist without another. Right. Even God needed human, right?
Yeah.
To have a relationship, communication. So what's next for you guys?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. Obviously, this continues to develop as we go along. I continue to have various fire departments now from Hibbing and Litzen saying, hey, I've got some fire gear, will you come send it to Ukraine? Okay, we can do that. But more importantly, we want to make sure that the things that we send are, first of all, high quality. Secondly, that those who are there know how to use them. But thirdly, we want to find out, in a sense, what is the level of skills which the fire department has? How can we enhance that? And then another thing which is a concern to me is that of the spiritual well-being of the firefighters. Because, one of the things that I want to reconstitute, which had been established but fell apart, was doing chaplaincy training for the first responder communities.
So I'm going to change the subject for a little bit and get a little bit into the reality because we need that. So November is coming. People are apprehensive. Some people are fearful. Election.
Yep.
What would be your message to our community first? Because we remember a few years ago what had happened here and how it got changed the reality of from our state and ripple effect negatively to our nation and also abroad beyond our nations too. So what would be your message to our community, our citizens first? This is your camera. If you can have it 1 or 2, just share like 1 minute message to our people, please.
I think that I would like to say that there are a lot of individuals in the United States who are very sympathetic and supportive to the cause in Ukraine. They are very appreciative of the way that they have responded, I think, beyond the imagination that all of us had. I was a critic. I thought, candidly, if Russia was invaded Ukraine, they might be able to last a week or so. But they've proven a remarkable amount of resourcefulness, resilience, creativity. Even now with the invasion of the Ukrainian army into Kursk, they've proven their desire to be free people. What I've found over the years, and again for me, my involvement in Ukraine is a highly personal one, having established contacts since 1997. I have a daughter-in-law who is Ukrainian. I have grandchildren who have Ukrainian blood in them. I've been to Ukraine about 25 times or more. I've been involved in a wide range of issues, from humanitarian aid to pastoral training to being involved in people's lives on an individual basis. To know Ukrainian people, their sincerity, their genuineness, their authenticity, their generosity, to know Ukrainians really is to love them. They're a marvelous, marvelous group of individuals that I think are underappreciated around the world.
Sean, how about yourself? Address the nation in our community about November. What do they need to know? How would you want them to behave or react? Or because we don't know what's going to happen, but we don't want it to repeat what had happened in the past.
Yeah, I also think about similar to COVID. You see more and more a heightened level of anxiety. And maybe how we started the conversation with faith is just remember, it doesn't matter if you're Ukrainian or you're an American citizen, you're in the world, but you're not of the world. And so when we think about what do we have control over and how can we influence, smiling, universal language of I care for you. How will you, in a sense, maintain your faith and ask for guidance? What will you do to be an influence in someone's life for the betterment? So the things that you can control and the things that you can't control, what you can control is your attitude every day and how you will choose to serve somebody who is in need. And for us, the blessing for this trip going to Ukraine in June has just been tenfold. It's come back to us just more and more. And these doors are open. We serve in this capacity. We are still in contact with our friends, or what we would call family in Ukraine. We talk back and forth often through WhatsApp. But I had a blessing this last week. I had 18 Ukrainian students from a U-Lead program that came to the Brooklyn Park Fire Department, and we got to talk to them about professionalism and leadership and how maybe the things that I say or said influences them to be stronger. Young men and women, 15, 16, 17 years old, how they're going to go out into the community and serve others, and what profession do they choose to get into. So to wrap it all up, I would say be confident and just stay faithful to your principles.
Mark, how about yourself? Take a moment and address our citizens of the Twin Cities. How would you like them to react on the upcoming election in November?
I believe that, we all got a purpose and we all are leading our own mission. But people of Ukraine, I would encourage to stand up for what they believe. when I see people from all over the world, and I've traveled several countries. Ukraine is in my top few where you have nice people that they're strangers and they're treating you with respect. Don't ever lose that encouragement. I would stay strong no matter what the election is and however it's going to go. Stay strong in what you believe and let God lay the path, and we can follow the journey.
The biggest thing that I found out in our nation and country, but I'm going to speak to my nation because America is my home now.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is my nation. That when you remove God, everything falls backwards. We want to fix stupidity. We need to start by bringing God back to the schools, to education system, to the politics, first of all, because if you look at the Bible, no king had operated without God's intervention in his decision making. He would have to go to God for advice, for direction. So if you want this nation, if we want this nation to be strong enough, first of all, I'm going to encourage the people who are managing people, get back with God. That's it.
Our money says it, in God we trust.
Exactly. And that's the only currency in a planet that has and acknowledges God.
And we have to stand behind that.
And we absolutely have to stand behind that, because we can preach to Ukraine, we can preach to other countries in the world, but if you remove God, there's no one can sustain anywhere in the world. I am direct descendant of Armenian genocide survivors. My great-grandparents have been beheaded in front of my great-grandfathers from the Ottoman Empire soldiers during World War I, when they have announced to do the complete destruction, removal of Armenians who were Christians. And that's why they called it Holy War, to remove unholy people who were Christians. So there will be nobody there. My point is that we cannot cast evil with evil. This place needs God. That's it.
Yeah.
Instead of giving a punch, give a hug.
Yes.
I guess too, if I could add one thing, I think that as I was at a conference a year ago in Washington, D.C., in which one of the congresswomen who were there from Indiana said, people need to understand that the Russian propaganda machine is very, very effective and has done a marvelous job of giving misinformation to the United States. And one of the gross points of misinformation is that of religious freedom. The fact is that Ukraine is the most religiously free country of perhaps any Western European or Eastern European country at this point. That it is easy to start churches, it is easy to do evangelism, and here you have the Ukrainian people who are really the bulwark for political freedom as well as religious freedom in Eastern Europe. And we need to realize that a lot of the information which comes online, it comes through obscure sources, totally false.
Well, everything we have to filter through. Even the propaganda from United States, even all of the things that we watch, what we eat, like physically, emotionally, and also mentally, everything has to go filtered. So not everything that is a flashy is gold. So we need to be very, very careful about and very intentional about food that we eat for our minds. So I know that I have lots of friends who are Russians, lots of friends, and my relatives are Russians too. I have 2 nieces who are Russians, 2 nephews who are Russians, and I have my family in Ukraine. And I'm going to tell you this war has divided my family into half. And that's exactly my point, is that we cannot preach to one nation ignoring another or another. So if you don't have a kindness, if you don't have compassion, if you do not have things inside of you, that passion and compassion, you cannot heal the nations. And right now, there's 2 nations who were brothers and sisters together by blood. We speak the same language. We really do. We are hurting big time. Like my families don't speak to each other because of this. My friends got divided because of this. And that's because of the propaganda that we are also watching, that are like an insult to the injury. Instead of bringing the healing to a nation, instead of bringing the diversity, inclusion, celebration, they divide even more. It's like you have the wound and you stab it until you have no breath in your lungs. And my goal is right now not to like love, one over another. We're all brothers and sisters.
Right.
We all bleed the same blood color, but just to bring that intentionality through your passion, through the work that you guys do, gentlemen, right? So you can preach the gospel.
And-
Start there. Start with Ukraine. It's okay.
Yeah.
And with all due respect, we need to be on more cool programs like this to get the truth out.
I'll take it. We are cool. How
Yeah.
about
I
that?
like
We
it.
are cool.
Plus, transparency is good for
It's
everyone.
very good. It's very good for you. And especially like yes, I do have my biases. We all do. I do have my understanding of life, right? We all do. However, my goal is to have stories that honestly changes lives beyond expectations, beyond the biases, beyond our, let's say, standards that we stand on, that will really touch the people. So yes, we're cool. I'll take it.
You deserve that.
Yes, and we can. But I want to ask you a question, gentlemen. What do you do for fun as a firefighters, as the the community members of the Hand in Hand? What do you do for fun?
I own some businesses. I have fun doing that. But my true fun is going to Ukraine and providing help for others. Whenever I can help somebody else and make somebody that was sad smile, I accomplished a very good day. That's truly what I believe
Yeah.
in. My businesses and stuff, they're all fun and I can work a lot, but I like to play a lot. And play a lot is having fun watching others succeed and others be happy in the world.
Yep. What do you do?
Spending time with my family. I think in family, there's biological family,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
my family as well. But I do want to piggyback on something that Mark just said, is I can't wait to get back to Ukraine. And I know that's kind of our common theme, but every person who has learned about our journey,
Wants
they
to be
ask,
part.
how do I,
Get involved.
yes,
Mhm.
how do I get involved? I don't know how you are doing it, but I want in. Whatever I can do to help. I mean, my wife and our 2 boys, they want in. They want to, let's go. There's other ways that I can help and serve. But even just as far as just community outreach and the people that we have in our lives, and then grow that forward, having fun is spending time with people.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the biggest kind of things. Lee, what about you? Give me something original, please. Give me something like, are you skydiving for fun? Do you run the marathon for fun?
Well, I used to do running, but I gave that up. I just got too old and it hurt too much. So no, I'm really not a hobby person. I don't have any woodworking. I don't fish. I don't hunt. I do things like that. I do have a real passion for my family. I have a large family. We have 7 sons, 1 daughter.
Wow.
I call that the balance of power. And really
I
is.
hear you. Yep, I hear
Because
you.
my daughter is a very resourceful and influential person in the
Yeah.
family structure. We have 22 grandchildren. I have a wonderful wife of 48 years. I retired after 32. I was in ministry. I was pastor of church for 46 years. My last church, I was there for 32 years. So I'm very much of a relational type of individual. But yeah, my passion now is, having retired from that a year ago, I still do real estate appraising work to supplement my income. I had one person say, well, why are you still doing this? Well, I said, it's really to feed my Ukraine addiction. Because we operate our warehouse out of my facility. I had a large whole building, which we use. We have volunteers who come on Mondays to sort medical supply. Then we load out of there. We warehouse. Everything works out of there. I have the fire truck, which is there now. And that's really my passion. And so it's like I enjoy what I'm doing. So it's kind of hard to say, oh, I can't wait to get rid of this so I can go do something when I enjoy meeting good people like Sean and Mark, meeting individuals who have passion to help others, have the satisfaction of going to Ukraine. Again, these individuals are my friends. And so when they're hurting, when they're displaced, I sponsor one of my friends who and his family now live in Cambridge. This is very satisfying for me to find, in a sense, their needs being met And then to find individuals very spontaneously, such as yourself, inviting us to come here. I had a phone call yesterday from a lady in Duluth who I'd never met. She said, hey, we're sending medical aid, can we work together? And I said, sure. And in a sense, that's why I utilize the phrase hand in hand, simply because it's all about networking, it's about partnering,
Yes.
it's about resourcing one another, because together our united efforts really become very significant. Our individual efforts become easily diffused, we become easily discouraged, but working together and resourcing one another, a lot gets done.
A thing that the three of us really do truly share is we value that life is more of what you give than what you have. I think that's truly
But don't
said.
get me wrong, skydiving, it's on the short list.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
bucket list, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Have you
checked
seen
off.
my
I love
list?
it.
You'll be like, my gosh, what was she thinking?
Got to do it one time.
Yes, at least one time, yes. So I did my triathlon, marathon, other things too. Skydiving is still on it, so like getting there and stuff. So looking forward to the good weather because
That's
it's like
right.
20 degrees lower up there,
Yes.
and I'm not a fan of the cold.
Skydiving's fun, but people, they wonder, why are you jumping out of a plane that works? It's for the fun.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right.
it's
So
fun.
it's just fun for adrenaline. So, but there's a difference between having fun and having a joy. So I want you guys to have the joy while you're having fun, because joy comes from internal satisfaction, that from the internal force, divinity from God, right? Fun is very short, but I want you to increase that joy, and that God will encourage you as well and use you as the tool to influence and impact other people, to have that joy, piece of joy, to share the dose of inspiration with others,
It's our
right?
goal.
We all have that. What our community needs, the last question, what do you think is a secret that we need for our community to stand together?
I think connections. How do you create opportunities to connect with your community? And it can be local, it can be regional, it can be statewide, it can be international. Maybe a little bit about how we got to Ukraine. Two friends of Lee's, Lonia, who connected us with his friends in Poland, who we don't know, we'd never met. And leap of faith, okay, we're going to fly from the US to Poland, get on a train for a 19-hour trip to Kyiv. And then another friend, Dima, his brother Sasha, spent the entire time with us driving. Sasha doesn't speak English. We don't speak Ukrainian. But we had an awesome time
Whoa.
together. It doesn't matter if we're using translators or things on
We
our phone or
communicated.
but we had an awesome time. And the point I'm trying to make is, back to what you said about joy, is we weren't concerned.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Exactly.
So we got on a plane, flew 8 hours over to Warsaw, got on a train for 19, went to Kyiv, got in a car with Sasha. None of us speak the same language, and we drive to Cherkasy. And that was kind of the theme. Even though we're learning and growing together and sharing an experience, there were still people who were supporting us. Mark had a number of people back here kind of tracking our trip as we were going along, just in case something happened. We were going to a country that's at war. Lonia and Dima, both. It may have been 3 a.m. back here. They got up just to text and just say, how you guys doing? Thinking about you. Connecting. And so back to your original question, community. How do you create those opportunities to share value in one another and respect and grow together?
It's all about relationships. If you get into good relationships with people, you're sitting next to the Brooklyn Park fire chief, then you've got a good friend that can deliver stuff on the other side of the world. And that wasn't 8 months ago. That's exciting.
And then the queen with the TV.
And then
Yeah.
somebody with TV, I mean, that's exciting. Her family's in it, so I know you're family orientated.
Yeah, very
That's
much
what
so.
we are, family orientated.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts. You got God and then you got family, and that's what we respect. So we enjoy relationships. They go a long ways.
Yeah, community, connections, communication.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That creates a strong relationship.
I think too, I think that one thing which bonds us together, we're Christians. One thing which bonds
Amen.
us together for me, my friends in Ukraine, we're believers. And I
Yes.
have marvelous believers which are Pentecostal, they're charismatic, they're Mennonite, they're Baptist, they're Orthodox, even Greek Catholic. You realize, we have this common bond together in Christ, which says, there's things which are there, and part of the whole thing of what Jesus said, it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. There's far more joy.
Yeah.
And I get up in the morning, I look at a fire truck. I just went and picked it up. I didn't pay anything for this. I look into my pole building, which the retail value has millions of dollars worth of medical supply, which are surplus, which are donated. And I didn't pay anything for that. I have people who are graciously supporting what I do, because each time I send a container out, that's $10,000 worth of expense that I have to make sure is met. And 25 containers later, they've all been paid for. And again, it's been marvelous to be part of this. And so there's a real joy in being able to work through and with these things, and just to see things which are, wildly beyond my wildest dreams or my imagination, and just to be part of something which is far bigger than any of us are.
Alexander the Great, before his death, he said this: when I die, bury me with my hands opened, just like this, so people will know you cannot take it back, anything with you. Mm-hmm. So the only thing, the message was that do not accumulate the things on the planet that moth and thieves can steal and rob and rotten. Yeah. Collect the things that no one can rob from you: joy, love, kindness, mercy, that you can actually build your soul to go up. So, and that's one of my message. So we want us to connect community, to actually have things that money cannot buy, because that's a true wealth. When we have things money cannot buy, that only God can supply. With all of these things that we have said, I want to encourage you today, our community, if you hear this message, to please reach out to us, donate, connect, and see how you can be part of this greater vision and a mission here in Twin Cities, where you can get also involved, because you know that there is a unity in the community, and we need you to build one another here. That was your host, Ilona, from Ilona TV, where families are coming together and stories change lives. We will see you next time.